before I forget, I would love to invite you to the Winter Solstice event. If you download the Chakra Deck app, you can sign up in there and receive notification and get the updates as those events happen on December 21st, 2020 this year. So please do that and participate. It is a collective effort to anchor in this new amazing grid for all of us. Welcome to the December Pick Your Path. My name is Jenessee Roy, and this month I'm going to guide you through picking your path so that you can stay most aligned to the right path moving forward. So join me now and we're going to talk about letting go, the big reconciliation, the big ending that's going to come up for you this 2020. So if you haven't done this before, what we're going to do is offer you two choices here for this December, and each choice is going to focus on how to keep you most aligned. What we do is we start with where you're coming from. So in the very beginning, we're going to review what was happening for you in November. And what was happening for you from November is going to dictate what kind of energy you have already aligned to in your chakra system through the choices you made, the things you were thinking, the things you were feeling in November has now created a field around you that's going to be manifesting this December. And so we're going to start with picking what path, either red or blue, that you're going to be walking based off of that energy that you're bringing into this month already in your field with. Once you pick your path, either red or blue, and always disclaimer, try and just pick one path. Don't listen to both paths. It will just add more work, more layers to what you're here unfolding for this December. So once you decide on what path you're going to be walking, red or blue, go forward, move to that timestamp within this video, and then listen to the full reading for what's going to be happening and aligning to you through December. So what we do is look at where you've come from, and then we look at the mastery of what you're here to achieve in December. So again, our field, everything energetically that we're here connecting to, experiencing and manifesting in our lives day to day is a reflection of all these internal things that we're processing, all of these things that we've connected to. And so the goal always is to stay as connected as possible. And so what happens, being this beautiful human that you are, we typically have a really great and easy time operating from our physical levels, our emotional levels, and our mental levels. But a lot of times what happens is we get lost. We don't recognize that each of those levels are three different life experiences, and we end up encompassing all of that into just one experience. We think thinking, feeling, and our physical reality are all connected and mean the same thing. And so what we're going to try and do is go through where you might be holding patterns, where you might be disconnected from either thinking, feeling, or experiencing, and get you realigned to the mastery of what your field is trying to convey to you during this month of December. And so before we jump into the mastery and what you're coming from November, I want to just review what December's all about. So December offers us a 12-month in a 2020 year. And so focusing just on that 12-month, it's all about reconciliation. It's about the one and the two. It's the grand face-off. It's the new you that you have been desperately, or your energetic field and your divine self have been desperately trying to crack you open and reveal this new you energy, right? The new destiny, the new timelines, all of this new truth that's been boiling up inside of you since January, but really evident since the COVID and April, March months hit, and we had to do that deep inward self-reflective kind of journey to find out exactly who we are supposed to be moving forward in this new world. And so that's all the one energy, the new you. And then here the two energy offers us the duality. It offers us this final look at the old self, the final potential to let go of what is. So the 1 and the 2 come up in December and offer us the new us and the old us, standing side by side, face to face, and there's got to be a letting go. And some of us will choose to move into our old patterns, which is not a bad thing. It just means that there needs to be more life experience had before you completely trust in the divinity of who you are in order to move forward and make those choices that have been innate and present within you, but you aren't quite yet ready to 100% follow through with or make those big leaps of faith, life choices that are going to align you completely to that destiny. And so you might be choosing some of the old patterns, which is okay. It just means that you are going to be living more validation to bring through your truth. If you are jumping into the new you, it means that you are getting ready to take a really big leap of faith. Again, the 2020 breaks down to a 4 cycle. So this entire year has been about building a new foundation. And we see this through the microcosm as well as the macrocosm of everything that's been happening this year, right? Everything structurally has been breaking down. What we thought was our reality is no longer our reality, and there's changes, there's a new world, there's a new ground, there's a new foundation that we're all having to anchor into. And so here, the 12 into the 2020, it means this big grand final completion, a big reconciliation. And reconciliation to me means you're letting go of a karmic cycle that you no longer have to move and carry with you. And then the foundation being complete, meaning as we enter 2021, it's a big change year. It's a 5-year, which means there's going to be tons of energy, tons of change, tons of things that we have to now start to fill this new foundation that we've built over this year with. And so we're going to get just kind of kicked in the patootie next month to really start to fill this foundation that we built over this year and that we've grounded into this year, and really start to take charge and building that reality that we feel is our most authentic reflection. And so here, again, at the end of December, it's a really big letting go for those of you who are meant to be aligned to this new you energy and are kind of like me a lot of the time, kicking and screaming, dragging your feet, wanting all green lights before you make that final decision. This is going to be the month. This is going to be the month where really you have to get kicked into gear, and that could mean a big letting go, a big loss, a big upheaval, something that makes that grand final gesture to get you to anchor that full karmic end, right? The end to a big cycle, a big pattern that you've been kind of resisting all year and making that choice, or resisting internally, those deeper seated feelings that constantly have us question, because you can feel the gravity of how big this decision is for you and to move forward with. So basically this December just offers us the final kind of, it's like the ending chapter to a really big storyline that's been playing out all year long. And so we're going to now look at what kinds of paths you could be picking based off of what you were experiencing in November. So take a nice deep cleansing breath with me, inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through an opened mouth, really sinking and anchoring into this moment here, into this space, and just allowing yourself to clear anything that's not serving. And we're going to invite in all of that energy of what decisions we were making, what energy we were feeling, and what thoughts we were having in November, so that we can really reconnect to that highest truth of who we were then, so we know what we're moving forward into. So again, if you haven't been with me before, I track out back this way behind the camera. I'll throw up a picture here of what I'm looking at. There's energies that represent the red and the blue path. This would be the Chakra Oracle deck if you are unfamiliar, which hosts the 78 windows to the soul, which is allowing us to connect again, like I was talking about, making sure that everything here in our physical, our emotional, and our mental bodies are firing clear, open, so that we can receive that high self energy, so that we can be walking in complete alignment to our highest truth, to let go of any of these false timelines, any of these things that are dense, holding you back, holding humanity back, which is ever present right now. And so the more we can just allow ourselves to be open in all these levels and layers, which I call the 77 or 78 windows, to the 78th window is the high self. So anchoring and aligning that high self energy into this moment in time. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a specific window that you might have been playing with in November, and then bring in the energy of how to clear all those subtle blocks or subtle hindrances to you really being in full connection to your purpose, your truth. So blue path. Blue path energy will be all about the person in November who was really trying to trailblaze, trying to lead the way. This would be somebody who had organized big groups, who maybe was in charge of getting a message out, spreading a message. This was somebody who was really walking in their truth, who was walking their walk, talking their talk in full integrity and alignment. It's a throat chakra energy. It could even be somebody who was one of these leaders in whatever sector you're working in, right? For me, it would be a mind-body sector. It's more of a spirituality. For, somebody on Wall Street, it could be the financial sector. But whatever and wherever your passion lies, this would be all about walking in that highest truth and being the person who is really anchored into why you are here, what you're supposed to be doing, having the foresight to be able to guide the people in that sector that you're with. And it doesn't have to be just about work here, but it's wherever your passion is. So if it's, the beautiful role of mother, right? And the passion is really making sure the kids have everything they need because maybe everybody's going back online again or whatever it is, right? Whatever that passion is, wherever your creativity, your heart is right now, and how you're living that truth in this world. When all those things were in integrity and alignment last month, you were trailblazing, you were pioneering, you were the person in the front of the pack, leading the collective, leading your group. Again, if it's you as a mom with 2 kids at home, if it's you as that stockbroker with a portfolio of 1,000 people you're taking care of, whatever it is, you were the person who had that clear motivation to move forward. And that would have been your November. It would have been really guiding people, being the person that people were seeking out for your opinion, for what you were seeing, for your truth, right? So lots of maybe people reaching out to you. And I would say this would be your network. It would be very specific to the groups that you typically surround yourself by, but maybe there was some new energy where people who haven't reached out before started reaching out, or maybe your network grew because you were the person being sought out. You were the person who was really just in such clear alignment to what you were doing that people felt that and wanted a piece of it, wanted a piece of what you knew, what you understood, and where you were moving, so that they too could feel that kind of connection and alignment during November. So blue path, you will have been the pioneer. You will have been the person that was really leading the charge. Your energy last month would have been very driven, very go, go, go. But it would have been in a, let me make this clear, it would have been really doing you, and then because you were so in alignment to you and so connected to what your message was, what you were following, your integrity, where you were being guided, that then there were these people who wanted to come in and learn from you or understand what you knew, So it wasn't so much that you were the person who was leading all of these other people the whole time. It just naturally happened because you clicked even deeper into your alignment, that then these people started to want a piece of you, again, to say that for the 3rd time. So that would be blue path. Now we're going to transition to red path to see if maybe red path is what you should choose for this December energy. And remember, these energies are what you were experiencing in November. They may come into play in December, but it's really just helping us to remember what was happening in November, because who we were in November really is going to dictate what kind of experiences experiences we're having here in December. So blue path pioneer, now take a nice deep cleansing breath. Let's see if you might be on red path. Inhaling in through the nose and exhaling out through an opened mouth. A nice deep grounding breath, settling all your energy back in. And now reviewing the energy for red path. So red path, you were vulnerable in November. It's complete opposite, guys. It should be really easy. You're either red or blue this month. No questions asked. Red path, you would have been really vulnerable. And this is a heart level vulnerability where maybe you had that big letting go. Maybe you did something that was something happened to you, or you did something that really brought you to your knees. Maybe there was another letting go of an identity, of something you thought was a truth that ended up being not your highest truth and revealing itself as something false, something that was keeping you down, something that was limiting you yet again, right? So on this path, every time we grow and expand, there's another deeper letting go. And for all of those of you out there who do this constantly like I do, I've been doing this for the last 20 years, it feels like, constantly trying to understand myself and at deeper and deeper levels. And it's like you think you get to the top of the mountain, and all of a sudden it's stripped away once again, and it's like, oh, it's like now you're naked on the top of the mountain. It's like, what just happened? I thought I had a clue as to what was going on, and it's like it all just has to go away again. I had that moment this last month. I had no clue. I was in Michigan walking this most beautiful lavender labyrinth, a mile long, and no clue that I had another level of letting go that was going to be as deep as it was. And there we went, and it just all melted away, and I was left completely vulnerable and exposed, but again in a new connection, even deeper to my highest truth. And so vulnerability can come up in so many ways. Again, if it's in the physical plane, maybe there's something that really triggered you. It could be a loss of a job. It could be something that one day was there and the next day it's not. Stability wise, it just broke you down. Something that made you really feel like you were losing your SHIT, right? Because it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do now, right? In the emotional plane, it could have been something in connection to people outside of you that it wasn't even your choice, but because of actions of other people, you now have to take a deeper look at your life and say, well, where does this leave me? And there's something that happens because of circumstances that happened with people, situations, things outside of you. Somebody could have gotten sick, and now your whole family has to be in this place of vulnerability. Maybe something happened in a relationship, in a work situation where it instantly, something happened. It triggered outside of you. It wasn't happening to you, but it triggered so closely to you that it rippled in and affected you. And you had to now change your perspective and say, well, what's next? Oh my gosh, if this is what's happening, how do I react and how do I change, right? Because of what's happening. If we go up to the mental plane, it could be something where, like I just described, where another layer of the identity, something you thought was a reality, something you believed in for so long was completely stripped away from you, and you're left now with a new level of feeling exposed and a newness, but also a complete vulnerability because who you thought you were has now changed yet again. So we can hit this on all the levels and layers, but really this is about finding a new level of being, and I shouldn't say finding a new level, I was going to say being exposed, but it's really the time was right last month, and you were in the right place at the right time to then access this next level of unfolding, which in essence can sometimes look like trauma, pain. Really, it can be and take the shape as density or negativity in your life. But in hindsight, when we look back, we realize that was that trigger moment that needed to happen to really break us, to allow us to let go yet again. And so that would be your red path this month. If you are blue path, again, you were leading the way, you were trend setting, you were in alignment here, which allowed you to move forward and allowed other people to then kind of get caught in that wake that you were creating. And if you're red path, it's going to be all about another vulnerable moment that you had to experience that's now gotten you here into this point today. So go ahead and pick your path. Again, look for the timestamps. We'll put them here. And we're going to continue on with blue path, red path. You'll move forward and ahead and listen there. And so if you are staying, you're going to join me with blue path next, and we're going to look at your mastery and then what could be coming in as that new energy and the duality that might take you off path. Blue path. So if you chose blue path, it was because you were having an amazing November, really just locked into your truth and then walking that truth and having people recognize that truth. And so, guess what? Guess how you're releasing? Oh, you thought you were picking blue path and gonna have it so easy, right? So again, remember that energy that got you here was intended to get you here so you could have more experiences in the alignment of your truth. And so now the mastery for you this month in December, the big reconciliation and letting go, is about patience. And so blue path people, you have a tendency when you're in a good flow, you want to ride that high as long as you can. And so a lot of what we're doing here in this new paradigm and the shift that we've all experienced in living more of this emotional plane instead of the physical plane, as we get here in this emotional plane, what happens is there are multiple potentials. I keep talking about this. I call them timelines. When you're really hypersensitive, you can feel into how many different energies and potential outcomes and experiences you could have within one day, right? We got to get out of that regimented schedule, that structure, and then allow ourselves to be really open to any kind of potential that could come in. And so what your mastery in this December is all about, it's the window that relates to patience. And then this is hitting you. It's hitting you in your solar plexus chakra, this level here, which is all about your willpower, which is a beautiful thing. But it's about your willpower in connection then to the relationships that you have and that are outside of you. And so there's a lot of times where when you click in and you're again, I'm going to use a surfing analogy because it's just so beautiful, but like when you catch that wave and you're in the barrel of that wave, it's so easy and you're just riding towards the sunset, right? It's like it's effortless. And when you're in alignment to yourself and when you're living it and when you're connected and feeling it, that willpower is on fire, everything's there, you can just go. And so one of the things that you need to start to play with here is the potential of the timelines that are connected to you. And I don't want to say this and have it be taken the wrong way, but it's not all about you. It's all about you, let me just say that. But in essence, in this mastery level, it's no longer, you're doing you really well, right? There's no question asked here. You're doing you really well, but now what divine wants you to do is now back to that kind of surfing analogy, but let's keep it in like the wake and the boating now. It's all in the ocean. It's like as you catch that wave, it's not just about you getting in that barrel, but it's about the 12 surfers that were behind you, right? That also get to catch that epic wave and get pulled along the ride. And what you have a tendency to do is slip in, feel into it, and those who are getting you in that level, you invite to come along the journey. And it's like, catch up with me. If you're here with me, let's go. I'll support you. But the people who don't so much get it, they tend to get left behind. And so there's this tendency for you to be riding a vibration that's here. And what that does is you have lots of cords of connection to you, these people, these souls that have come in and are wanting to either learn from you, play with you, have resonance with you. And when you get off on these tangents, you're producing out here, and it's not affecting the collective arrangement of what's needed from you in that energy you're tapped into at this level, because you're way out here doing it by yourself, and it's like, whoever can stay with me, they'll stay with me, but if you can't, you're going to be left behind. And so for you, it's all about allowing yourself to know that even though you have the energy, even though you have that drive and that determination, that it's about more than just service to the self and what you're processing right now, that vibration, when used in connection to your relationships, when you don't push, when you can hold that space and allow other people the time that they need to catch up, and I don't want to say slow yourself down here, but in essence, I guess I'm saying slow yourself down a little bit, still catch the wave, and know what's happening in the wave. And now my wave analogy is leaving me. It's not working so much anymore, because it's like, I want you to be in that experience of the perfection of the moment, which is getting in that barrel of the wave, right? And riding it for as long as you can. I want you to be in that experience, but I also don't want you to ride it and then show up at the end of the wave and have nobody there to celebrate it with you. So right now, your mastery is about having a little bit of patience, and the patience is in connection to your relationships. And so you're in December. A big part of your letting go is really going to be about finding this balance in between the singular journey and the journey in connection to the relationships that you've chosen to be connected to in this life experience. And so it's about showing up at all levels and layers. Again, remember in the very beginning, I said one of the problems in connecting to false timelines is that people think that their physical, emotional, and mental are one thing. Jenessee, one thing. It's just Jenessee making decisions here and choosing to walk through life. It's not just Jenessee. It's my physical plane, it's my emotions, it's my thoughts, it's my higher spiritual self, it's my connection to all humanity. All of these things make up what you see as Jenessee, and vis-a-vis with you as well. And so in essence, what happens is if we get locked into just one of these, thinking that this Jenessee is the thing that needs to move forward and just keep going, that's a false timeline. It's about honoring the connection at all of these levels. And so for you, again, to have patience, knowing that there's a reason why you've chosen these partnerships. And these partnerships right now are feeling maybe a bit slower, maybe a bit dense. Maybe they've shown excitement in what you're doing, but maybe it's time. And even though they've shown excitement, or maybe they're encouraged, or they're around you, but they're not at that level that you're at, it's time to be present to what they need, right? Because if you are who you are, and you've made these contracts with other human beings, it's time to allow them the same beautiful journey of riding inside that gorgeous wave, chasing that epic sunset. Okay, so that's your mastery for December, and I think I was going down the line of something about how that's a release. So really the release comes for you, and I'm going to just work with the false timeline stuff, because that's the biggest problem humanity has right now. All of us, is we're chasing these false timelines. We're operating as Jenessee, as enter your name, instead of operating as the physical, as operating as the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, the unity, the divine, right? We're thinking it's just all about this and what this is trying to achieve, and it's not about this. It's about where energy is connecting to us in any given moment in time. It's a big spider web, and all of those layers are different strings within that web, and those different strings are getting plucked and vibrated at different times. And so knowing, is it time to follow and help the relationships? Is it time to be a part of the human collective? Is it time to be in this physical and create things here, manifest things in the physical? It's not about this one individual singular experience anymore. It's about living in connection to the highest, the highest I guess, truth, which is what is that timeline that's manifesting for you to focus on right now. And we've all been so blinded by this singular pursuit, which is a false timeline. When we're just here producing because Jenessee wants to produce, it's a false timeline. And so we need to start feeling all of these different levels and layers as they trigger within us. And so for you, the layers that are triggering and what you're going to have to let go of is this false timeline that it's all about you riding that wave and continuing to produce as the pioneer that you were last month. Nope, that pioneering energy is dissipating. It's all there. Everything you did last month aligned you here. But because you were pioneering so hardcore last month, now what you're being asked to do is throw out these tethers and grab all these people who have chosen to partner with you in this life and start to help them catch these waves and chase the sunset and have some epic adventures, right? Okay, so now I'm gonna let that metaphor go, unless it really plays into these next two energies. So the next energy we're gonna talk about here for Blue Path is your new beginning. So the new beginning always transitions right around the beginning of the month. And I believe it'll be a new moon here at the end of the year. So the new moon energy, new moon's always great for setting new intentions. It's about getting really intentional about what we're gonna be exposing ourselves to and how we want to move forward. And so the new energy that's going to kind of come in as an activation for you right around the beginning of the month of December. It's all about appreciation energy, and this is all about your high self. Again, remember, everything we're trying to get you to do this month is stay connected so that you can be living through all of these levels and layers, which means you are living as the highest truth, high self energy. You're integrated and connected to high self. Really, just to me, it's if I break it down really simply, it means that you, as this unique individual expression, this human that you are, you get to be unique and have unique experiences, but all of those experiences are had to serve the greater good of all of humanity, right? So we don't make choices to just serve Jenessee or you. We make choices as Jenessee, as you, to serve the greater collective expression of humanity. And so when we look at this, when we say what's the new energy, the infusion of energy that you're going to get at the beginning of the month, it's all about your high self, which is switching from the self-service to total service. And it's being in total service to the bigger group collective. And so it's about appreciating what happens when you can pull back and start to operate again from the mastery of the month, which is patience. And so when you can slow down now, because that pioneering energy, you're coming in hot, leading the way, trailblazing, doing you, aligning, getting more insight, really clicking into who you are and what your purpose has been, probably developing more stuff, getting lots of really great information and guidance from November. And then in December, it's like, okay, now that we've gotten all that information, now that I've had a new trajectory, a new wave of energy come in. Now it's about honoring how to allow my energy not to just force myself ahead and just hope these people stay with me and hang on and learn what they need to learn as I'm flying, so far ahead of the group. It's about taking a step back, being patient, maybe feeling like you're slowing down a bit, so that you can and here's the thing, I don't want you to think you're slowing down your energy and getting dense to the level of these people, but it's expanding your field of awareness to recognize that there's a lot of people that are in need of what you're bringing in. And so in essence, you can't keep chasing what's new. You've got to then allow what you've received to be able to you have to be able to effectively teach those around you. You in effect have to be present, so that these people who need you can connect to you and can get what they need from you in order to allow everybody to then move together in a really harmonious way. So we don't want out of balance energy here. And again, that's what the mastery, it's about you being really high, 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 somebody else who's really connected to you being not so high, and then that just creates more and more separation. We don't want that. We want you to be patient so that they can naturally start to understand what's going on and make the choices to then find balance and harmony within the energies. So there's new energy that comes in the beginning of the month. It's all about being in appreciation to how you're starting to recognize what it means to be in balance to the people outside of you, to the groups that you're serving, right? So I'm seeing this as very relationship oriented. I see this being, partners, people who are romantically entangled, but I also see this being, teacher student type stuff for the patients. It's you and somebody else, and it's you and your partner in this life. It's you and your child in this life. It's also you and the mentor or the student that you're with, right? Well, it would be you being the mentor with the student because you're here and they need to catch up. And so it's about those people who then, as they start to recognize that they're being called on to slow down, to have this moment where there can be a reset between all of the energies that are present. When that happens, it really gets you in appreciation. There's this infusion of energy where it's going to be a light bulb moment where you're going to recognize how this is connecting you to the bigger picture. Because for you, staying connected to that wave is what feels most normal. Having your willpower, having that drive and that determination to keep understanding, to keep learning, to keep unfolding, to keep yourself moving forward is your natural state. To slow down and allow yourself to just be expansive in what is not your natural state. And so when you do this, it seems like in the beginning of the month, there's going to be an instant validation for you that bing, that light bulb will go off. The collective is there to support you connecting in to high self, to slowing down, to finding that patience. It seems like there'll be a really big reward for you in that. And it will allow you to appreciate what it means to do this in a balanced way, right? To be really balanced with it and not just keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward. And so then the end of the month blue path, what comes up is the duality for you. And we've got a beautiful solstice on December 21st. And so the 20s are always when the duality starts to kick in, which is really the initiation of this, to make sure that you're owning and understanding what the mastery of your December was. And so the initiation comes in. Everything about you is about group energy. Really, you're here to serve the collective. You this month are really learning how to let go of your agenda and realize that your agenda is in service to the collective. And I know that sounds a bit wonky here, and until you live it, it probably won't click in. But truly, there's been a version of you that your agenda to serve the greater good has been about your gifts, what you're here, your purpose, your divinity, and how do I bring all of that to serve the collective. And what this month is teaching you is when you just stop and trust that everything you are is the purpose of serving the collective. It's not these things you've created. It's not these labels. It's not these, it's not these programs. It's not these teachings. It's not these, whatever it is that you do that's so a part of your identity. It's not anything about that. It's literally you. It is you. And so when you actually pull back and allow yourself to be in these moments where you can pull back, slow down, and then be connected to the energy when it's present, and then come back and pull back and slow down, when you can really be in flow to that and let go of everything and trust that everything you need you already have, then you are in full. Again, this is where the appreciation at the beginning of the month, I think you get a real quick validation of this and how you're serving the greater collective. And then the duality, or the test point for you at the end of the month here and the end of the year, comes in, and it's all about it's like the reverse of it's the exact reverse. It's so funny, all the energy you're pulling in. It's about your passion and connection to the collective. So again, this is about you probably at the end of the month getting inspired again, wanting to create something new, wanting to play with something you just picked up on that's different, that is inspiring to you. Your creativity gets triggered and you want to take that and create it, or take it to the group again and explore it and create something new and expand people more. And in essence, this is a beautiful thing, but it's the energy, it's the exertion, it's the test that's going to come up for you. This is, in essence, your mastery is about patience. And so if you take this, I think it's going to be like, it's just going to be how you act. It's like, you get this intuitive hit, and it's very mental and it's very cerebral, and you feel like it's guidance, or you feel like it's an agenda or something you should do, and then you just want to put it into play really quick, see what it does, see how it unfolds, see all these components of it, and it's like, wait, like, we've got to make sure that the collective is ready for it. Because if you're just picking up on it and then taking it right out, it's that will, it's that forcing, it's that pushing. Wait, if you receive it and then you get that creative charge around it, which it's saying you're going to, and then people aren't showing up and requesting it, or your physical reality is not yet showing up saying that it's needed, this is again you pioneering, trying to force a timeline, trying to create something that's not ready to be in this world yet. It's a false timeline. So we need to make sure we're in honor of not only our cognitive, our mental plane, our feeling plane, but also then this physical plane. Make sure that physically people are either asking for it, people are showing up needing it, people, or situations, or the reality of your physical surroundings are showing you that what you're thinking and feeling is now needed. Remember, you're being asked, Blue Path, to really anchor into this high self energy at all levels and layers. And your big letting go is going to be, just because I can think it and feel it doesn't mean it necessarily needs to be done right now. Right? Because that's that energy that has you creating all these potentials. But really, who's following you? Again, it's you're on the surfboard all by yourself. Nobody else was able to catch the wave. And so how are you serving the greater collective? You need to trust, be patient. And when you think it and feel it, you got to wait for the world to need it, right? And don't worry if you're not producing it right at that moment. It's always a seed in your subconscious that when it's needed, it's going to be watered and grow to its full potential, and it will serve the greater collective when it's needed. But if we chase these false timelines when either the mental field isn't there, the emotional field isn't there, or the physical reality isn't showing up asking for it, if we're chasing these things when all three of those layers aren't connected, we're creating things that in essence have no support in this 3D reality. So that is your whole big picture, Blue Path. If you are not a member, I highly encourage. It does support me and all the content that I produce here. But what I'm going to start doing is giving tools to help you process this. So you've got all the information for the month now, and come around the new moon and full moon, we'll put out some tools and some things that will help you, Blue Path, to make sure you're staying in alignment there and understanding what it means to have all of these windows open so that you can stay integrated to high self as you traverse this big kind of reconciliation, letting go month. Again, this is a big energy for you to make sure that you understand what it means to stay in alignment and in balance to what's needed now, so that you're not spreading your energy into false timelines that really just create a lot of what we're leaving behind, which we're calling the old paradigm, and making sure you're staying really connected and centered here. So Chakras Root to Crown, the membership platform, is available for you there. $7 monthly membership will get you access to some of these amazing goodies, or there are other levels within there too if you're looking for deeper dive coursework. And then don't forget, we have the January Summit. If you have not signed up, I highly request that you do. Request or suggest I'd probably make a request and suggest that you do. My part in it, I'm going to be teaching all of this multidimensional framework so that you know what it means to stay connected at all the levels and layers. So with so much light and love, Blue Path, I wish you so much patience in this month of December, and I will see you again in January. Red Path, I am so excited. I just finished Blue Path, and woo, you're happy you didn't pick Blue Path. Okay, so let's get on to you, Red Path. You had vulnerability. That was the reason that you picked this path. You had some big letting go, or another click in, another release of the identity, or possible things transitioning or triggering you, where you had very vulnerable moments in November, or one big vulnerable experience in November that kind of sideswiped you. So that's why you're here, because of that energy of what was shifting back in November. And so your mastery, interestingly enough, is a hyper chakra. It's a hyper crown chakra, which means the hyper crown chakra is all about disassociation. It's all about so the crown chakra, of course, is the opening to the channel. It's the when everything's in alignment here in our physical, emotional, and mental plane, when we're in complete alignment and all of our windows are open, that basically opens up the connection to high self, to be able to live and walk as not only this human that's here in this 3D paradigm, the physical, emotional, and mental senses and awareness that we have, but when we're open in that crown chakra, it really allows the integration of our divine path to be integrated into what we're doing. So everything feels very purpose-driven. We're able to have vulnerability and not have fear in it. We're able to have, be in a constant creation, like manifestation or co-creation cycle. We can have acceptance, complete acceptance over the perfection of life, no matter how it's presenting, right? All of these master gateways within us, within these levels, are open so that we can have a fully connected experience, and trust that everything that's showing up in this physical paradigm is aligned to our highest and greatest good. And so it allows us to live in our divinity as well as living in this human reality. And so when that crown chakra, when anything's going on with the crown chakra, there's a potential that something's not coming in, that there's a distortion. There's a distortion around that field, right? And so for you, it's a hyper crown chakra, which means there's so much focus on trying to live that potential, live as high self, or your purpose, or your destiny, right? Whatever word you want to put here. Living in your truth is how I typically say it. There's so much focus on that what happens is it actually disconnects you from this human experience. And what that means is it makes you detached is a good word, disconnected, ungrounded is a word I would say, but that very specifically kind of relates to the physical embodiment of this. But it's a very ungrounded way to be. It has you projecting into the woulda, shoulda, coulda, the am I doing this right? Is this what it is? It's all of that bigger questioning, but it's the bigger questioning over your purpose, your destiny, your truth, all of these things that then take you out of the physical, and the only way we can have those truths and those purpose and that divinity aligned to us is if we're grounded in this physical body, right? Otherwise, as those things come in, they just stay in this very, we'll call it like a mental or etheric range, where we can think things and know things and feel things, but nothing's happening in our physical reality. And that's because we've literally disassociated from the human, and it can happen because of trauma. Again, you're coming here because of the vulnerability. So your mastery is about coming back into knowing what it means to be an integrated human. And so your entire path this month is about, the mastery is about understanding how to marry high self and low self, the human and spirit. It's about having experiences. And so your December, and what's kicked you into this December, has been the vulnerability. So I have a feeling this all started for you. Your November into December is very synchronistic. Whatever the vulnerability moment was in November probably happened to you because, again, there was a bit of disassociation or disconnect from that human journey, getting a little too high or too focused on what it is, what should I be doing. Maybe you were about to go down the wrong path and you manifested something that again made you question who you are, made you lose a part of where you thought you were going, that identity, that potential you were moving towards. Boop, it all got cut last month, right? There was some kind of vulnerability moment that had you question. In partnerships, this could be, I think I'm supposed to stay married to my long lifetime partner. Or it could be the exact opposite. And then boop, something really vulnerable happened again that makes you question all of it, right? So there's been these click-ins for you. There's been these big realizations, and then it seems like you had invested in some of your energy into it, into the potential, into whatever that could have been. And then last month, a manifestation of something in your reality happened to instantly make you question, become really vulnerable, and lose a piece of yourself that makes you go, wait a minute, what am I doing? I don't even know who I am, what I'm doing anymore. What's the purpose? And whether you're doing that at an extreme level or if it was just a really subtle level but still made you really question, why was I putting so much energy? Why again did I find myself in that pattern? And why do I have to be in this really vulnerable state again, right? And so this is your November and December mastery really are beautifully hand in hand, kind of. It's like Play-Doh being molded together for you this month. So you're not going to lose that vulnerability. I'll just tell you, most of the time, the energy that gets us in here, it kind of leaves. It's just the ushering or the gateway to get us into this next experience. But really, these two things can't be without the other, because a lot of what you're here for and why you picked this path, probably unbeknownst to you at the time, was because there is an integration, a deeper integration that's happening to you through your, what we call your core channel, which to me is this this gateway that accesses and is an overlay. I'm going really deep here. It's an overlay between your physical reality, the human, which is the three-dimensional human operating physical, emotional, mental planes, the three-dimensional plane experience here of the human, and then this inner channel, this inner gateway, which are your 7 chakras, which are your personal chakras, but then are also the cosmic portals that overlay, that access then and allow your high self to live as a living, breathing component of this human experience. So when those two things integrate, you are living your divine design, your destiny here on earth, right? And a lot of times it's, the human perceives the destiny as having an objective. As soon as you open all these cosmic portals and these gateways, which you're doing this month, November, Red Path, what happens when all those cosmic portals get opened and you live as high self, it literally becomes a playground where it's like, what do I really want to do? Well, how do I feel? You just start to entertain these human levels with like this total disconnect from the human limiting paradigm. So I love that you manifest for your mastery is disassociation, because in essence, what you've been doing is the complete opposite of what you need right now. And it seems like there's been so much emphasis on, the who am I, what's my purpose, what's my destiny, am I living my truth, all these things, to an extreme or to a subtle level, but you've been in that realm, and what that has done is it's disconnected you from the human experience. It's pulled some of your energy out of the right timelines to manifest openings within all of these levels and layers within you, so that high self can be living with you. And so that in essence, what your mastery here for this month of December is to realize that as soon as you get into this human body and trust everything that's happening at all the levels and layers, what it actually does is it disconnects from any of the density of the human and allows high self to integrate and makes it just this like playful enjoyable, well, that just happened, interesting, I'll understand that later, well, that just happened, woo, why did that happen, it just becomes more of this, in essence, detached acceptance over your entire reality that then allows you to have a really joy-filled experience as this human, that then when the joy and the higher vibrations are in, will then unfold more. And I don't want to say, because you've always been living your truth, but it will release some of that density that's been blocking you from seeing what the ultimate truth of your purpose here is. And so it's really interesting. You're in this, it's just like, it's a very yin and yang energy right now. It's like you're doing this to try and achieve this, yet you have to achieve this to do that. It's just this like total, what is it, OODA loop, or like, I don't know. I know there's a double-edged sword. I think that was the thing I was looking for. It's like a double-edged sword. It's like, well, I'm doing this because I want this, but in order to have that, you have to be okay with this. It's like, the complete opposites here that you're working with. Okay, so your new energy. So the new energy comes in right around the beginning of the month, and it typically is ushered in with the new moon here at the end of the year. And the new moon is all about, setting intentions. It's about the new infusion of energy. It's an activation usually that comes in. It's like the vision I just got shown was like when Tinkerbell. And sorry for my Disney brain, but when Tinkerbell, in order to make the kids fly, it's like you have to blow the fairy dust on the kids, and then they can like fly. So that's typically like what the new moon energy does. Like the new moon in the sky, it's almost like the new moon blows this infusion of light down over onto humanity. It's like, whatever all of you need, here it is. Like, here's your little activation, here's your little boost of light energy. And so it's this like transcending illumination that helps us all kind of click into what we need. And so the energy's there, the energy's being offered to us. And so for you, the new moon energy is all about this massive transformation. So it's not just a little infusion, it's going to be a huge infusion for you, Red Path. And so this is all about manifesting. It's an alignment within the human body that allows you to let go. Here's your big letting go. It allows you, again, to let go of another part of that limitation, that identity that's been telling you you're a caterpillar when all along you've been a butterfly. And again, this is right back to all this double-edged sword, OODA loop stuff I'm trying to convey. Here it is again, like you're seeking and seeking and seeking, which is disconnecting you from this human journey, and yet you've been the butterfly all along. And because you've been thinking you haven't been the butterfly, you've been disconnecting from the butterfly that you are. And what do they say? Like in physical reality, like a butterfly can actually never see its own wings. I think the flap of its wings are always right beyond its peripheral vision, right? It's like this is in essence what you're living right now. It's like, I want to shake you. You are a butterfly. Trust that you're a butterfly. It's like, this is it. This is the big transformation moment. Are you going to buy it? Are you going to believe it? Are you going to trust that who you are is exactly who you need to be? And if you trust in it and really bring your energy back down into these physical, emotional, and mental ranges, if you bring it back in to infuse this body, this reality, what will happen is that complete, oh my God, like the butterfly in my fake reality now actually can see that it's been a butterfly all along. And so things just start clicking into place. The windows open. It's not so dense. It's not so restricted. You open those windows and allow yourself to overlay that high self energy, which allows more of this, what happens when that happens? It allows you to see that the existence that you've created up into this point, it has been very, very specific to your unique attributes as they're needed for this entire human collective. So if you like to do street art, right? I don't know. I have no clue where this is going. If you like to do street art, but street art doesn't pay anything, right? And it's like, well, that's where my passion is, but how can I be human and do street art? These two things don't work, right? And it's like, Okay, well, in essence, there's a different energy. If you're rejecting your truth and your nature and your divine nature, all I want to do, all I'm inspired to do is street art. I just want to go give back and blah, blah. But I can't do that because it's not going to serve the human. Okay, well, there's a complete separation there. You see now this OODA loop, this like double-edged sword, all of these things that are happening. So there's an ability for each of us now in this new paradigm. Like this is what we've shifted into, and this is where it takes a complete overlay of trust in who you are authentically and what your unique attributes and divine gifts are. When we're focused on how it serves the human, when we're focused on how it serves just jenessee. If I go do street art, which is my greatest heart's passion, all I want to do is go out there and draw on trains or whatever street art is, chalk the roads, whatever it is. All I want to do is that. Yet I don't know how jenessee is going to survive just doing that. Now you're taking a high self divine paradigm. All I want to do, all I feel, all I'm called to do is street art. Yet how does that serve jenessee the human? And now there's fear, there's disconnect between these two things. And what that does is it doesn't allow that infusion of energy, which is your divine purpose here, to actually integrate and fill the human essence. And so what we need to do is we need to stop focusing on the individual. And if what you're called to do, what your greatest passion and the only thing you can ever find energy to do is street art, when you go do street art, you need to be in the complete joy, the complete connection. You need to do that street art and give it to the collective. This is your gift to the collective. This is your gift to humanity. If you can start shifting how you operate, and I'm going to go do street art, but I don't know how this is going to serve me, and you're disconnected and you're closing all these windows to potentials, then you're always going to be limited. There's always going to be a disconnect between the high self, your divine destiny, and this human experience. And so when you do, I keep pointing at my street art here. When you go do your street art, you need to surrender to the highest good. And I'm doing this because this is my calling. And I'm doing this to serve humanity. And I'm doing this because it's what I love to do. And if you can tap into that love vibration and trust, and you can do it in greatest service to all beings, you will always have what you need. You might not have what your neighbor down the street has, but that's not what you need. You will always have and be served with what you need. If what you do is an inspiration from your heart, it's the love that you pour into this world, and then you send it out to the world, you in essence will be served back from that. This is the new paradigm that we are all operating within. If you just do you, and you do it, when I say you do you, I usually say that, but when you do you, I mean when you're doing what you're called to do, and then you do it with love and in service to all, it will always come back to serve you. Okay, so this is your big transformation moment, is that trust. It's you got to let go of the limitations of the human and the physical paradigm that surrounds the human. What I see, I believe. We need to take care of this physical. It's all about the physical. No, that's paradigm's done. And this is the infusion of energy. So if you're living in your mastery, which is again, being in connection, you are the butterfly, all these things, all these OODA loop and double-edged sword, all these things I've been talking about up until this point. If you can be living in that mastery and come back into this human and live what you're here to live, which is just what you're inspired to do. If you can be in that, come the new moon energy, that infusion, there's going to be this transformational energy that hits you, the human, and probably validates a component of what you've just already aligned to. And that's going to come in right around the beginning of the month and the new moon for you. So then the duality, the end of the month, comes in, and what is this? It's hard. This one's hard to read upside down. It's the teacher energy. So where is duality with that? So this is all about relationships and how you are living, walking your walk, talking your talk. Okay, I get it. So the duality is going to be the people outside of you that either you've put trust in, that you value their opinion for. Again, this is like the mentors, the teachers. This could be our partners that we value, and we value their opinions, their advice, all these things. The duality towards the end of the month, again, the end of this month, and the big letting go and all of this stuff that December is bringing in for us, It's going to come in and it's going to, for you, it's going to be a test of when somebody outside of you who is not in the same understanding or connection to their divinity that you are integrating and activating within you. There is going to be a relationship outside of you that you value, that you trust, that you put on a pedestal, that you really admire, you name it, whatever, mother, partner, mentor, whatever. And they're going to come in and they're going to question if you're in alignment, right? Because what they're seeing is a physical paradigm. They're not seeing the higher truth. And they're going to come in and question this, and you're going to manifest this interaction where somebody's going to question you and make you question yourself. And that is going to be a big hurdle, a big test, because as we get ready to manifest our divinity into this physical reality, the last level that comes in is the sacral chakra. And in the sacral chakra, it actually brings to us relationships in this physical plane that don't yet see the divinity that we see and are connected to. And they come in as this last hurdle that we have to jump over to actually be in full co-creation and manifestation of our divinity, whatever that looks like. And so there's going to be this interaction that you manifest towards the end of the month that's going to come in and challenge you or question you or make you question yourself. And the goal for you is to be present to that and go within and see what you truly feel. I'm not going to tell you one way or another if they're right or wrong. That's going to be for you to decide. I'm sure they're going to make a really strong argument, a really good one, and it's going to need to be a very inward focused conversation you have with yourself. Is this somebody that's got my best interest at heart, or do they have my best interest at heart, but they're just not seeing and feeling the intensity of what I see and feel? Are they right? Are they wrong? Is anybody ever really right or wrong? It's what do I feel? And is this going to be something that's taken away from me because somebody outside of me doesn't get it? Doesn't get it at the level that I get it at. So that is your month ahead red path. And so I just want to encourage you. I will be coming out with some tools to help keep red path aligned. Those are all in the paid membership site. If you can, it's $7 a month. It's so easy. It supports us and all the content that we create and all the things that we love to do to support you in your journey. So there's the chakra membership site, and there's so much good information there at the $7 level. There's also some higher levels if you want to do some deep dive coursework or work with me one-on-one personally. And then I encourage you to also review the January Summit, the Welcome to the New. We've got a lot of amazing facilitators that are here teaching all about the new paradigm that we're all stepping into. I myself am teaching about the multidimensional chakra system, the 77 access points to connect to high self and your soul realization. So just a little bit that I'll be teaching there. And I really look forward to working with you moving forward and just with so much light and love. Have your butterfly moment, see those wings, and stay true to you this month red path with so much light and love.
If what you seek is seeking you, then what are you looking for?
There's a part of you that wants to expand, it wants to grow, and it wants to feel much better than it already does.
This membership program offers courses to change your reactions and tools to expand your perspective.
They're tools. They're just trying to amplify what's already there, make you a better version of self. This is the first time I felt full in my entire life.
Guided meditations and live interactions will bring validation.
Going through these rebirths or this evolution, this form of change, this shift, it is the most exciting part.
Explore your potential, embrace your gifts, and empower your